Hi everyone and happy Monday. We have a page, sorry, I'm just opening up my swatch chart for my pencils that I'm using. This is a chart that there'll be a link to it in my description. It's a swatch chart that's available for you to download as well for the pencils that I'm using today, which are the Staedtler Design Journey pencils. So yes, we have this picture today in the planner from Enchanted Forest. It's quite a small details on this one, but I'm sure we can do something with it. That's why I've chosen the Staedtler pencils, because they're quite sort of fine. You can sharpen them to a nice sharp point, but we'll see how we get on. Now I think I've done a comparison chart for these polychromos in case you don't have them. I'll have a look and see what I've got for you, and put it in the description. So if you need a sort of comparison chart, if you've got if you haven't got these pencils, because I know they're not a massively popular set, then you can use something else. But I'm going to start with my favourite bit of the picture, which is probably not always the best place to start really, and it is this tree. So I'm going to actually come in nice and close and hopefully remember to sort of move the book around a bit so you can see what's going on. Now these leaves, I love the way they're drawn, and in Johanna's latest book, I'm just trying to pick the right colour for me. Yeah, in Johanna's latest book, Small Victories, she does have a few pages with leaves like this, which I don't know why I like them so much. And there's no, I suppose it's just a matter of taste, isn't it? So this is the 579, which is a olive dark, it's called. And I'm going to do the base of the leaves with these. I know they're small leaves, and doing two colours can be quite tricky. If you're struggling to see, or you haven't got much patience, like I often don't, then just do the whole leaf in the same colour. What I'm trying to do is just fade it towards the tip a little bit. So you could leave it like this, but I'm just going to put another colour on the end of each leaf. It's just because I enjoy colouring leaves like this that I'm spending a bit more time on them. I may not do that on some of the others, but we'll see how it all goes. So I hope everyone's well this Monday. It's we're getting into March. I don't know what the date is. Oh, 11th. Yeah, it's coming along through the month. I've been getting so far ahead with my video making that I've lost track of where I am at, which is a good problem to have, I think. So there's plenty recorded for you for March already, but husband's having a bit of time off work, so I shall probably, I won't be recording, I'll be colouring still, because he's going to do some art, but I want to be in the room with him so we can chatter and stuff, which will be nice, and a bit of time together. We might, sometimes we go off and have a coffee together and things like that. It's nice. So we'll see how that all goes. But he's sort of coming a long weekend off, and then I need to talk to him about Easter actually, because Easter is the very end of March, beginning of April, and seeing if he's going to be taking any time off then as well. He was saying something about, yeah, he's got a lot of days off coming up. He's got a lot of holiday. I mean, he's lucky. He gets, I think he gets 30 days a year, which is a lot, but he has been with the company a long old time. I think it's over 20 years. Would it be right? I don't know. But I know he was there when the children were in primary school. So it's at least 15 years, I would say. But it just sounds a really long time. But anyway, he's been there a long time, so he gets extra benefits for that. So that's good. And he bought, no, I think he did buy a few days. So it sort of reduces his salary a little bit, but he can buy a few extra days off. No, no, that's not right. He has a benefits package worth a certain amount of money, and he can spend it on different things like holidays or private health care and things like that. So he chose to buy some holiday. And it's quite nice now because the boys are at uni. They're not out all the time. They're sort of in and out depending on when they have classes. And they have really long holidays. But he doesn't feel like he has to always take his days off when they're off anymore because of them being a bit older and that sort of thing. So we can have a few days, like he can take a day out when they're both out, and we can just have a day for ourselves, which is really rare when they were little, you know, because he used to try and take his holiday in the holidays so he could see them. And although he still loves spending time with them, it's a little bit different now they're older, you know. And also we don't sort of go for days out. They don't like going out to places like we do. You know, we used to, in the holidays, take them to the zoo or, you know, all that sort of thing. They don't want to do that anymore, of course. So it means that it's less necessary for him to sort of have days off to take them out places. In fact, there's a lot of places we want to go that they're just not interested in, which is a bit of a shame. But we'll get there. We'll get to them. But it's very different now they're a bit older, you know. It's nice because you can sit down, you can have a proper conversation with them, a debate, or you know, political debate, or moral dilemma debate, things like that. We have quite fun having a chatter. They teach me about things that I've never even heard of. You know, it's I'm learning, and they're not only teaching me about things they do in class, but just things they've read up online, and you know, sort of they live in a different world to me. But it's quite interesting. I do find it interesting learning from people from different backgrounds anyway, and they learn from that through their sort of online contacts and things. And they being a different age group, sort of mixed with different people. Right, now you could leave your tree like this. I'm going to do the tips of each leaf in this colour, if I can reach it. This is number 16, it is the golden ochre, and I'm going to go over every leaf tip in a little bit of this. Now, as I say, you don't have to do this, but I just think it's pretty. Oh, I'm going to just do those or else I'll forget. I know what I'm like. There we go. I'll just go through making them. It looks a bit autumnal, I suppose, but that's okay. I mean, I know it's March, but this isn't really a March picture, I don't think. I don't think it's really got a season. You know, some pictures do sort of look like they're a particular season, but I don't think this one does. So it doesn't really matter. I am thinking about what colour to do the tree trunk while I'm colouring this. Whether to do it a light brown or a dark brown, really. It's my thought. I might do it a mix of colour. Now, this is a fantasy picture, obviously. We've got a castle on a mushroom. So there's no reason why you have to do the everything in standard colours. You know, I am colouring this tree in green, and, you know, it's reasonably realistic. Whereas, actually, you could do it in purple, pink, you know, do the trunk in green and the leaves in brown, although there might be trees that look like that. You know, you don't have to stick to these sorts of conventional colours. It's just that my brain does. I like green leaves. I like green anyway, so I guess that might be why I tend to turn to green. But anyway, we'll see. I don't think now I've started in this colour that I can then do some of the trees in unconventional colours, because I think it will just look strange. but I have seen this page done. Maybe I did it. I can't remember. I've done this page lots of times because I've completed 2 versions of Enchanted Forest. And actually I've got a video where I flip through both of them at the same time, so you can sort of compare my pictures sort of, you know, when I did it the first time and the second time. I've done that for Secret Garden, Magical Jungle and Johanna's Christmas because I've done 2 copies of each of those. So I find those videos quite interesting. They seem to be fairly popular as well. In fact, the Enchanted Forest one and the Secret Garden one are on the home page of my YouTube channel because it puts my most popular videos on the home page. I'm going to use this colour, the 7. Now 7 is light brown. I'm going to use this for the branches first. Yes, so it's quite fun, but I've also completed miniature Enchanted Forest, which is as well. I've got to flip through that one. So I've done this picture. It was smaller than this in that book. So these little tiny bits of branch were very difficult to colour. So I'm not sure I did, whoops, nearly knocking my pencils on the floor. I'm not sure that I did such a good job in that book of many of the pictures because they were so small, because they were just shrunk down, which made them a little bit difficult. Whereas in Small Victories, the pictures haven't been shrunk down. Johanna drew them at that size, so she knew what we would be dealing with. So she was very careful to make sure that they were colourable, because that's a word. 76 Van Dyke Brown. Going to go along the edge of our tree. So do a sort of line on the edge and then just gently do a lighter bit as you come in, and it just helps to give the tree a bit of shape, I think. Oh, I've gone massively out of the lines there. And sort of along the edges of the branches if you can. It's a little bit tricky because they're thin and narrow, but just have a go. This one's a bit thicker. I'm just doing it quite vaguely. God, I suddenly got a whiff of chlorine. What's wrong with me? Having smell hallucination. There we go. I'm just putting a few lines on there to make it look a bit more like bark. There we go. There's our first tree. I think we might as well move along to the next tree. Let's just do trees, shall we? Just trying to get it all in shot. Now this looks to me like a pine tree, maybe. Yeah, sort of Christmas tree type tree. We don't really have that sort of green. I'm just going to use the green. It's number 5. Oops. And I'm just going to colour it in, just plain, and see how it looks. Whether it needs more or whether it will sit just plainly coloured. It might just be fine. We'll have a look. Because it's got little lines drawn on it which we can still see through the pencil because these pencils are quite transparent. So I'm not sure whether there will be any need to do anything else really. Just getting around these leaves, a little bit fiddly. Not too bad. That's why I'm using these pencils. They keep their point well and it's easy to sharpen them. Some pencils I get a bit, just trying to, I think that's in there. I get a bit nervous about sharpening some pencils because they break, particularly on video because it's not, I won't say embarrassing. It's not embarrassing when they break because obviously it's not my fault, but it's just a bit annoying I suppose that, you know, I have to keep resharpening them, and so I'd rather not do that on camera. But it's just me being a bit silly, I think. Anyway, I'm just going to layer over a little bit more. Now I'm doing it in this up and down direction because we have these little lines drawn on in that direction, so it just seems to make sense. There we go. Now the little trunk at the bottom, I am actually going to use a different colour that with brown. So this is 77, it's our tobacco brown or warm sepia. And I'm going to try and just layer it up a bit more on the edge, a bit less towards the middle. So it's really fiddly to get around this grass and rocks, but I think there we are done. We're going to move across and do this little bunch of trees as well. This one is quite an interesting design, isn't it? What should we use for that? We'll grab this pencil. What's this called? I think this is the Green Earth 55. It's quite a dark one. And what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to fade each one downwards, so make them darker at the top. I'll try and move my hand so you can see, and lighter at the bottom. Do the same for this one. It's quite tricky in such a small space. I'm just colouring over and over a little more at the top. Also, because the pencils aren't hugely vibrant, to put quite a lot of layers on to see that there's a difference in colour. And work our way down. I had an email earlier from my neighbour inviting me round for a coffee, which was rather nice. She wanted me to go this afternoon. Unfortunately, I haven't got time. I've got to pop out after lunch, and I'm going to do a premiere, which I've forgotten to set up, which I'll set up after this video when I go and have my coffee. So that, yeah, I want to do a video premiere this afternoon. So it's a little tricky, but I suggested to her that Monday might be better because most of the family are out, which helps. Now there's a bit of a tree trunk I think there, which I'm just going to colour in with my 76, the old Van Dyke brown. Hoping you can see it. I think it's that. Okay, let's pull that back down. I'm just going to come out a bit because that one's really tall. Okay, now we have this tree and we have a trunk going up through, and then now we have a more like the fawn and the burnt sienna, which are more, and the rosewood, there's sort of a more yellowy browns. I'm not very keen on those for tree trunks, so I'm going to just grab my light brown, I think. The 7 like we used for this one over here. So as I say, I'm not so keen on the orangey browns. It's just a personal preference really. I'm not sure why. And some pencil sets seem to have lots of those and not very many dark greyish browns, and that annoys me. But that's life. Right, this one here that I'm just sharpening is the olive green, number 57, my favourite. Now I'm just going to fill in these gaps, I think. Keep it quite plain. I guess I could fade it towards the edge a bit, but I haven't done that at the top, so I guess I'm not going to do it for the rest. It's hard to know how long this page is going to take because it's quite fiddly. That one looks a whole lot darker, so I've turned my pencil round. It's a sharper bit, so I'm just going over those bits to make them match. So it looks a little bit odd. There we go. Now this tree in the background is quite big. Now I'm going to do it in the sea green, which is the number 30, which is the number 38, because I think that's quite a good piney, sprucey colour. You may think it's a little bit too blue, but I think it works quite well for a pine tree. Again, I'm sort of doing a vertical stripy stroke because that's the way the pine needles normally sit on a tree. So, and Johanna's drawn us these little lines on the tree, which I think also indicate that that's what we're supposed to be doing. So I'm just sort of working back and forth in little sections. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the rest of the picture yet. I'm just choosing to colour the bits that I know what I'm doing with, because I'm quite tempted to see I've never coloured this with a red mushroom because we're sort of, it looks like the land. I've always coloured it sort of either, I mean this bit's water of course, but this bit I've always coloured as grass. And I'm sort of debating whether to colour it like red or orange like a mushroom, but I think it might look a little bit weird. So I probably won't because I'm not very daring. Now the tree trunk for this tree has these little curved bits which look a bit like maybe roof tiles or something like that. Now normally when I colour a shape like that I would, and the same as the roof on the castle, I would make it darker at the top and lighter at the bottom. It's so small that I am just going to colour it over in number, that's the one I want, 76, R.M. Van Dyke. So I'm just going to colour it over in that because it's too small to worry about that pattern. What I'm going to do is try and just make it a little bit darker on each edge. There we go. Now this one is interesting. We have a sort of outline and then a centre section. I'm going to respect that as I colour it. So I'm going to do the outline in the 52, which is that sap green, and then colour the centre I need to sharpen, and then colour the centre sections in a different colour. I don't always like doing that, but I think it will just make this tree look a little bit more interesting. So I am just blocking this in, nothing fancy. I feel like my lead's a bit wobbly. It's very rare for a Staedtler to do that. But anyway, I'm also thinking about the background. I might do, I think, a bit of a cloud stencil, maybe. I'll probably forget by the time I get round to that bit. But I was thinking, is it floating in the sky? Why would it be floating in the sky? What am I even thinking? It's not a cloud. It's not, it's like, I don't know. I don't know, it just seems magical somehow. I don't know. Have a think. See what I come up with later. If anything, I may just leave it without a background. Sometimes pictures look better without. It just depends on the picture. Right, we are getting there. Now inside I'm going to use a slightly lighter green. I'm trying to use all different greens for all the trees. I think it makes it look more interesting. So I'm just going to grab the sea green, the 38, to just go along here because I've missed a few bits right on the edge and elsewhere through. There we go. Now I'm going to use this one. I think it, yes, the willow green, number 50, to do the inside. I'm just going to block it in. I think it'll look perfectly fine. I think these two colours go together nicely, the sap and the willow. I often put them together. And I'm thinking about that tree trunk colour to do it. I might I'm wondering whether to be daring and go for one of the ready browns. I think I might. What's this one? Number 73 is our burnt sienna. I'm going to use that, but I will use the darker brown as well. So I've used that to start with, and then I'm going to use the Van Dyke brown just to add a little bit of shadow here. I know I'm not doing a lot of fussy shadowing, but it's drawn in, and a little bit on each edge, sort of shape our tree trunk. There we go. Okay, right, so we've done all our trees. Where should we go now? We've got a lot of ivy growing across here, so I think I might do that next. Just thinking about what colour. What colour's that? That's quite pale. That's I think number 5, the green, is the best colour for ivy. I'm just going to give it a sharpen. The ivy can be quite dark. You don't really have the sort of right dark green for it. I'm just going to do the thin stem while I've got a nice sharp point on my pencil. I find it interesting looking at this picture and how the ivy is drawn here, and that Johanna doesn't draw ivy, this sort of thing, very much anymore. And with these sort of curly vine bits, you know, her style has changed a little bit, or maybe it's just that she doesn't feel it's appropriate for her, the books that she's been doing lately, I don't know. That I find it interesting how she's changed, and of course we all will. Our colouring style will change and evolve. So yeah, it's good. I think it's, as I say, it's interesting. Now, some of these rocks are so teeny tiny. Can you see? Just making sure you can see. It's suddenly paranoid. Can you actually see what I'm doing? I've just realised that that bit there is tree. Number 38. Sorry. Number 38. In there. There we go. Sorry. Always missed something. At least I spotted it. There'll be something else that I've missed though, no doubt. Now, doing this one and moving across to this one. I think I might do the grass next, and I'm thinking a really pale green might be nice, rather than the sort of doing a red toadstool mushroom top like I sort of thought about. There's so much grass drawn on that I think it's just got to be coloured in grass. Sorry. So I am looking at my lime green. It's not really lime, I don't think. It's quite just a pale green, number 53. Just going to give it a sharpen. Now the grass is quite difficult to decipher. I need to make sure that I'm not colouring over the water or the stones or whatever else is here. Let's get the whole of it in shot so I don't forget. You can do a sort of vertical movement with your pencil as well, because it's grass, which obviously that's how it grows. So that will help a little bit. I should use my brush. I got a piece of paper wet the other day. I think what I'd done was I washed my hands, having had lunch, to make sure they weren't greasy or dirty or anything, and came back to my desk and started colouring, and I was using some soft pastels, and I got a wet fingerprint on my book, and the pastel went really weird, so that was it, sort of, and I tried to erase it and it didn't, it just sort of almost ground it into the page. It was very strange. Now these little grasses here, I'm not going to recolour, I'm going to just leave them this colour because this is grass. Whereas these, I need to put a bit in. Gosh, that's fiddly. We'll not do those, we can use a different green for those. Got a little rabbit here to colour around. Put some grasses around him or her. And what I'm sort of thinking is that maybe I'll finish all the greenery today. No, I don't know. I think I'm trying to work out timings because I want to break this into 2 videos because we've already been doing it for quite a while. And I need to go and get a coffee in a minute before my voice dries up. And I did think I could do all the greenery in this video, but I think there's probably green is the biggest bit, so maybe I'll stop in a minute. I'm not sure because we've covered a fair bit of the page now. So this is going to be a bit fiddly colouring around these leaves, but it doesn't really matter too much because we'll be colouring them green anyway. And I'll be doing them a slightly darker green, I think. Well, I will, because I haven't got a lighter green, so I have to. Oh, apart from the pale green, but it's a strange colour that I'm not going to use for these leaves. So they'll be a bit darker, so it won't matter too much if you've gone over a bit. Better to go over than leave a little white gap, I think. But maybe that's just me. Right, we're nearly there. I think I probably am going to take a break after this grassy bit because my coffee will be cold. I've made it already, you see, and I'll put it next door. So I will go and grow a rabbit. Now let's have a look. Yeah, I think that's okay. I think I might, it's quite a few leaves there to do. Yeah, I might just do those leaves. I'm going to use number 5 and then I'll finish. Okay, I can come in a little bit closer. There we go. So I think I'm going to try to make them a little darker at the base than the tip, but quite tricky. Number 5 is what I use for the ivy, isn't it? This is silly of me. Use some 52 if you haven't started. It's too late for me. Although 52 won't show up very well. You could use 38, or you could use a what number is it? 57. The reason I'm doing these though is because I know I haven't gone right up to the lines, so I'm going to just go back over the grassy bit before I finish. I think it'll work with this one because like I've forgotten that bit of grass. I'll do that in a minute. These bits will be in different colours. Nearly done. just go back to our 53 and just do in these little gaps here where I can see that I've missed. I might have to do that again around these little stones when we do those tomorrow. But I'm just worried about this bit. There we go. Okay, so that's us for today. I'm sure we'll be able to finish that tomorrow. I think it'll be easier somehow. But there it is for today. So yes, thank you for watching. Hopefully you'll pop back tomorrow to watch the end and finish it off. Yeah, I'll have to decide what colour to make the castle. But yes, thank you so much. Have a super Monday and happy colouring.